I'm just helping you invest in your future, my friend.
It sounds like a get-rich-quick scheme.
Yes, thank you. You will get rich quick. We all will.
What is up, people of the internet? Hello, hello, hello. Welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Bubba is already asleep. He's bored already. How's everybody doing? Welcome back to another day, another live stream. Ready to look at more nonsense, I'm sure. I see a few of you are already here. What is up, Monica, Zip? Welcome to the live chat. Monica says, what are we going to manifest now? The possibilities are endless. I would love to manifest all these scammer coaches to go away. But then what would we do with our free time? Oh my goodness. Zip says, we're all going to be manifesting so much money that Danielle's sparkling water will cost $50,000 next week. You know what? I've been taking notes from the guy in my most recent upload, and I think it's time for me to retire my store branded sparkling water in favor of the stuff that's like $4 a bottle. Not in this lifetime, my friends. Let's crack her open. This week's flavor is blueberry pomegranate. Not my favorite, but it was either this or lemon, so gotta get what you gotta get, you know? How's everybody doing? Hello, future wealthy friends. Hello, Rodney. Welcome, welcome. Bubba, I want you all to take a moment to appreciate his new haircut. He looks as though he's lost about 10 pounds. It was just his fur. I also got a haircut about an hour ago. That's why it kind of looks like a mullet. I'm like, I don't know if any of the ladies in the chat can confirm, but always for like the first week that you get a new haircut, it looks a little bit off. So I gotta let it grow out. Not a dig at my hairdresser. I love her. But there's always like that weird period when the haircut's just like a little bit too fresh, you know? Suzanne is here and Suzanne is ready to get rich. You know what? I'm ready to get rich. So to that, I will say the same thing I always do.
Raise your hand if you want to get rich.
And I also want to remind you all of this little nugget of wisdom.
You can buy status by just like spending money to be around these people and then just being a cool person.
Just spend money to be around rich people. That's the secret. So we don't even have to listen to today's episode because we already know the secret to being rich, okay?
I want all of you to let that one especially deeply sink in.
Aaron says, I watched a video today. This lady gave actual decent advice and then the red flags started. And she said, if you can prove to her team in a year that you did exactly what she said and it didn't work, you'd get twice back what you paid from her. Oh, no. Oh, no. Yeah, you know what? There's been a couple times I've been scrolling like TikTok or Instagram, probably TikTok. I don't really scroll much on Instagram. But anyway, and I'll be watching a video and I'm like, oh, this person actually seems like they know what they're talking about. And then the last 30 seconds of the video, they say something like so unhinged. Or just like red flag, red flag, red flag that I'm like, God damn it. Why you gotta ruin your credibility like that? I hate it. I hate it here. Monica says, who knew? I can become rich just by hanging out with rich people. Yeah, it's called being in the energy. So write that down. Hopefully you brought your pens and papers because we're going to be learning a lot today. This week, we are going to be taking a look at the woman who was interviewed in last week's podcast. So last week we looked at a recurring character here on the channel, if you will, and she had interviewed a alleged self-proclaimed psychic. And so the psychic actually has her own podcast. And so we're going to be listening to that podcast specifically. Now, I can't find... You're going to have to give me a minute. I'm looking for the episode that we looked at last week, or we'll just listen to whatever. Honestly, I don't really care. I'm sure it's all nonsense. But I wrote down the episode number, but now I'm on Spotify and none of the episodes are numbered. So I love that for us. Suzanne says, last week I only lasted 15 minutes on the replay. Well, I don't know if this week's going to be any better, let's be honest. Let us know if you have success getting your $0 times 2 back in a year. That's hilarious. Okay, I'm going to start sharing my screen and then we can all kind of navigate this together. So let me pull the chat up on the screen. And then I'll also write down the time just for the people on the replay. Okay. So this is the podcast. And let me just... So if you weren't here last week, this woman claims to use neuroscience to help you manifest things, which those of you that have been on my channel for a long time have seen a lot of my content. You likely know my thoughts on that. But if you're new here, most of these people that claim they understand science have probably barely passed high school chemistry, let alone actually have an understanding of physics, quantum physics, or anything of the sort. So it's always hilarious to me when I see titles like this, such as The Scientific Explanation on Your Potential and How to Unlock It. I'm not saying that neuroscience can't be used to help you rewire your thoughts and work towards the goals that you want to achieve in life. Absolutely. There are plenty of peer-reviewed studies that back that up. What I don't believe is that these specific people who have no scientific education truly understand the neuroscience behind how to achieve your goals. So I just want to make that a little bit more clear before we get started. Now, I had written down episode 92, but I don't even know. I didn't write down the title or anything. So let's see. Episode... I don't know where I got that from because none of these are... Unless it was on her Instagram. Was it something she had promoted? Oh, okay. It's all coming back to me now. It's all coming back to me now. I think it was from her Instagram. Maybe we watched a Instagram reel. So then my guess is that it's one of the most recent episodes. Anyway, maybe we'll just pick an episode and we can sit and listen to this. Emotions are not your intuition, the science behind intuition, the source truth as to why you get cheated on. I mean, there's lots of really interesting stuff to pull from here. So you guys can let me know what mood you're in, maybe. The higher self path is not the easy path. My business story. The source and scientific explanation on your potential. That might be a good one. We got lots of options. So let me know what you're feeling. I'll catch up on the comments in the interim. Suzanne says, today I'm live and in the energy, whatever that means. You're in the right container, Suzanne, to actually pay attention. And so this week, we're going to get rich together. Space Pastry says, I will also be reading Pride and Prejudice during this live stream to help keep my brain cells alive. That's probably a good idea. Okay, Erin says, it was her Instagram stories saying you can even trust everyone in the field. Yeah, there was something we looked at last week. I really should have gone back and watched the live, but I didn't. Anyway, so I'm thinking we can just kind of pick something. It's all probably nonsense. Let's be serious. So maybe it was this one. The dark side of spirituality. Is every healer good? Do we think that sounds interesting? Let me read the description. This week's episode may leave you stunned. You'd think the spiritual world would be free from dark forces, but it's the perfect playground for them. Spirituality can attract some of the most vulnerable people who are searching for answers when they feel lost, and they can be easily manipulated by absent of light information. Guys, isn't this something I say every freaking time I make a video? The truth is, many spiritual teachers and leaders unknowingly or intentionally have dark forces on them. Some may not even realize it. While others are fully aware and sharing this energy intentionally, the more you listen to their courses, meditations, and podcasts, the more you open yourself to being courted into the darkness. All dark forces can be cleared. You have the power to shield yourself from them. Oh my God. We dive into how dark forces infiltrate the spiritual world, signs that a healer may unknowingly be working with dark forces, why source can't intervene and why it's up to you to clear and shield yourself, the difference between spiritual growth struggles and dark force interferences, the most powerful tool to protect yourself and clear dark forces. Okay, we're listening to this one. Sorry, chat. I don't know what you're saying, but this is what we're doing because I'm already getting the vibe that we have seen so often on this channel of, oh, but I'm not like other coaches. The other coaches, they're scammers because of reason A, B, and C, but not me. I'm different. So hire me as your coach because I'm not like the other coaches. Exactly. Zip says the newest one seems like the one where she will start to get to the point and then totally lose it. It's like we're halfway there, but we're never going to quite make it. So I'm excited for this. Harrison, welcome to the chat. He says, friends of the chat, let's get rich. I have my Saratoga water now and banana peel ready. Oh yes, the good morning routine, rubbing banana peels on our faces. I already forgot to do it. Okay, let's just go ahead and jump right into the episode. I'm excited.
Hello.
Let me know how the sound is.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Unfuck Yourself podcast. Per usual, we are doing it live in front of our Unfuck Yourself membership queens and kings. They, again, are here to, it's $50 a month. You can cancel anytime. They're here to watch it live. And then they get 45 minutes to ask their questions. And I get to answer as many questions as possible, give them some tools, give them some mini intuitive readings. And they're going to get some name drops today that we can't really put on the podcast. We're going to name drop a little bit today, but we're not going to put that part on the podcast, just for the membership queens only. So if you're feeling FOMO with the name drops, you can join anytime and catch this recording if you missed it live. Okay. Today we are going in on all things dark forces in the healing world. How could there be dark forces in the healing world? I thought dark forces were just in the mainstream media. I thought they were just in Hollywood. I thought they were just in places where dark forces belong. Like, how could they possibly be in the healing world? Well, it is the perfect place for them to hide. Have you guys ever heard of the wolf in sheep's clothing? It's talked about in the Bible a lot. The Bible has some really, really high frequency information in it, along the way the Bible did get infiltrated in certain ways, but there's still parts of the Bible with very, very high frequency information in it. Some parts of it, other parts not so much. But the part about the wolves in sheep's clothing is a very, very high aligned source truth piece of information. So if you've ever heard of the wolf in sheep's clothing, it's the perfect place for them to hide because it's where vulnerable people will go who need help, who feel like they are at a crossroads in life, who feel like they need help getting healed. And they will pretty much go to whoever, do whatever when you get to a rock bottom point. So when you are disconnected from yourself, you're very easily manipulated. And it's not your fault because you wouldn't think that there's dark forces infiltrating the healer space. So you wouldn't think like, oh, these are people who maybe don't have my best intentions in here. Now, there's two different ways dark forces can infiltrate the healing space, okay? One way is that
Okay, I gotta slow this lady down because she already talks so fast. I saw Monica's comment here about the name of the podcast. I'm actually confused because there is a popular self-help book that is titled this exact same thing. Like, I literally remember reading a book in like 2014 by the same title. I'm going to look it up right now. And I'm curious that it's not trademarked because the author is in the US, I believe. Yeah, the book is titled the same thing and it's written by Gary John Bishop. Get out of your head and into your life. And it was released in 2016. But yeah, when I first saw the title of this podcast, like literally down to, oh no, he censors out the letter C. But I'm just curious. This is something that I see, an issue that comes up with so many influencers. If you guys follow any kind of like influencer drama, most recently, Michaela Noguera released a makeup line. And the title of the makeup line is the name of an existing makeup line from a creator based here in Quebec, Canada. About a year ago, 2 years ago now, Jaclyn Hill, who's also a makeup creator, released a product line called Get Cozy, which was the same name as another Canadian. What is wrong with people stealing things from Canadians? Another Canadian influencer already had like a line of housewares under that same name. It's something that I've been noticing a lot over the course of the past few years is like an influencer gains a following. They decide to launch whatever, a podcast, a business, etc. They don't do a simple name search to make sure that no one else is using that title. Like, I don't get it. Even back, I remember when I had my podcast. So I hosted a podcast from 2016 until late 2021. And it was called Adulting 101. Very millennial of me, I know. But when I started that podcast, it was the only podcast under that title. I looked up the name before I started the podcast. Yet, as I continued producing that podcast for 5 years, do you know how many copycat podcasts popped up using that same name? And I would be like, I didn't trademark it because I wasn't actually making money from it. But I'm just like, who doesn't Google something before they decide to launch a business, a podcast, etc.? It's so simple to just take 5 seconds and look up whether or not somebody else already has a claim to that name. And so I'm just curious as to when she started this podcast and why she wouldn't just like go with something else when it's already associated. Why you would want a name that's already associated with somebody else, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So I see the comments are saying you can't trademark a book title, which is fine. I just don't get why you would pick a name that's already well known, especially in this space. Like, to me, and maybe this is just a me thing, but I'm pretty sure that's a really popular self-help book. Like, I know a lot of my friends have read it. I was recommended it by a friend. So it's just super interesting to me that you wouldn't look and see. I don't know. I guess my self-help book would be Unuck Yourself. Since I centered another letter, it's totally different. You know what? You're right. I'm wrong. What does she mean by dark forces? Darth Vader, perhaps? I don't really know, to be honest. I believe she means like people acting with ill intent is my sort of assumption here. So if we're thinking of like spiritual healing, the people who are acting on behalf of the dark forces or like who are channeling dark forces have ill intent. So they don't have your best interest in mind, but don't worry, I have your best interest in mind. So if you're vulnerable and you want reprieve from your suffering, don't pay those people, pay me money instead. Interesting. So Suzanne says some coaches teach people to do that on purpose to take advantage of the popular person's audience. So maybe that's what's happening here. Maybe she saw the success that this guy had writing this book and she was like, I'm going to start a podcast with the same title. And then when people go to Google his book, they're going to find my podcast. You know what? From a marketing perspective, maybe it's not a bad idea. I could steal those hits. Okay, here we go. Phoenix says dark forces means demons, negative energy, etc. Thank you. You are always my spiritual translator. To me, dark forces means horror movies. I love it. You know what? It's always up for your own interpretation. Whatever you want it to believe is what it will believe. Or what it will be. Sorry. Okay, let's get back to the episode.
Healer or teacher or coach or whatever is unintentionally has dark forces on them, right? They are just a light being. They don't know how to clear themselves. They don't know they really exist. They may be healer, but they don't really know how to describe it, whatever, right? It could be a really advanced medium who's really good and who has the best intentions. And also, when you're channeling, when you're opening up your intuition, you're opening yourself up to everything, not just the light beings, but the dark as well. That's why learning to clear yourself, if you are doing that work, is highly, highly, highly important. It's why I weave the dark force training into intuition levels as well. So it's very important to do that. So one way is by like accident, like it's unintentional that the person that you're learning from or listening to has some dark forces on them. Now, what can happen with that is they might then not know who they're channeling. They might think they're channeling an angel or a guide or a higher self, but they might actually be hearing the demon talk to them, the dark force talk to them. They don't know because dark forces are very good at cloaking themselves in like an angelic looking energy, right?
Okay, but how do you know? This is the part, and it gets me with any of these coaches that pull the whole, these people are doing this thing wrong, so hire me because I'm not doing it wrong. How do I know as the consumer that you're a legitimate source of information and that you're operating from good and not evil? How do I know? Because maybe you're the one who's operating, channeling dark forces, and the other people who you're claiming are the bad guy are actually the good guy. Who's to say? Who's to say? I got questions. That's all I'm saying.
And feeling energy. So without intuition and training yourself on how to know, you're not going to know. So a lot of people unintentionally have this. It's not that they're doing it out of bad intention. They are just don't know it exists. They don't know how to clear themselves. They don't think about clearing themselves. They think their sage works. Unfortunately, sage and Palo Santo does not work to clear dark forces. The dark forces are kind of like, oh, that smells bad, but like whatever. That's like so funny that you think you can clear me with that. So it's they may think they're clearing themselves, but it's kind of just like, and if you're in Dark Forces course, our course that we have, you've heard me say, it's kind of like if someone comes and robs your house, they're about to kill your kids and you literally need to kill them to save your kids' lives. You can't just like,
Well, I'm going to get demonetized for that, I think.
put sage on them and expect them to die. You need to literally like use a weapon and use force, right? It's the same thing with dark forces. It's the same exact thing. You need to use force and energetic kind of weapons to take them down. So therefore, the sage does not work. Imagine if someone just like comes into your house and you're like, hold on, let me grab my sage. You're like, go away. Meanwhile, they're like, you have 2 seconds before I kill your family. And oh, it's okay if you sage. I mean, sage isn't like bad and you know, it smells great and whatever and it feels good, but it's not really clearing the energy like some people are taught that it does. So again,
What a wild example. Oh my God. Yeah. That went south pretty quick. This escalated very quickly. Oh my God. I was not expecting that. I'm sorry. I get that she wants to try and prove a point, but I feel like we could have picked a less aggressive example. That was crazy. This is unhinged. We're only less than 5 minutes in, and I already don't know what's happening.
again, trying to clear dark force with that is like trying to sage someone away from like killing your family. You need to stop them with force, right? So either force the gun out of their hand, force their hands tied behind their back, force like you to put a gun on them so they run away, right? Like they need to go away with force. So do dark forces. So obviously they're called forces, dark forces. So people are unintentionally sometimes having them on them. So they're giving information that's maybe like 60% accurate, but then you have the 40% of dark force infiltration that they don't really know about that's kind of going in. Or it could be like if you're listening, if they have dark forces on them and you're listening, they haven't found out how to get to you through books yet. But if you're listening to an audio, you're listening to a course, well, now their dark force problem is your dark force problem because now that dark force was able to cord into you from listening to their course or their podcast or their thing. Now,
Okay, so Phoenix, I need you to translate whether or not I'm understanding this correctly. Let's just say, hypothetically, I'm channeling the dark forces. Now, all of you here in the live chat on the replay, you're listening to my words, and now you are absorbing my dark forces? Is that what you're saying? Through YouTube, I am able to transmit my dark forces, right? What are you talking about, sir? Pablo says this is why it's called dark energy and dark matter. Very wise. What? Guys, I'm lost. Somebody help me. Oh, dear God. You guys are killing me in the comments. Take a shot every time she says dark forces. What a great idea. Okay, so that's what she's saying. She's saying if someone has dark forces and you listen to their podcast, you will absorb their dark forces. So listen to my podcast because I am of light energy. No dark forces here. But if you don't listen to my podcast, I'm going to unalive your family. Like, why did she use that as an example? I don't get it. No, thank you. I do not need a Diet Coke. I have my President's Choice branded sparkling water right here. Thank you. She watched too much Lord of the Rings. Maybe. Honestly, I feel like a little bit concerned for these people. She's essentially talking about influence. Okay. The more you listen to someone who's hijacked by dark forces and you take on their beliefs, then they're spreading their dark energy. Okay, so it's exactly what I'm doing with this YouTube channel. So per some of these coaches, I'm just a negative hater troll. You guys, you at home right now, you're watching my video. You're like, oh, what Danielle is saying is making sense. Therefore, you're absorbing my negative, dark hater troll energy. Now you, by osmosis, are also a hater troll. Got it. Okay, perfect. We're all on the same page. Let's see what else. I'm still confused about who gets to determine what is considered good and bad. So who says your energy is dark and your energy is light? Where is the rubric that we're following to determine who is what? She just gets to make it up, I'm assuming. That's my guess.
They're not doing it. Some people, we'll go into the intentional people in a second, but some people are not doing it intentionally. It's just they have them on them. They don't know how to clear them. They don't know about them. They know about them and they maybe think they're clearing them with sage. And the dark forces like to be tricky. So they like to kind of lessen symptoms when you clear them with sage. But they'll lessen symptoms so you think they go away, but they didn't actually ever uncord from you. They never actually went away. And then they'll just come back a few hours later. So that's kind of what can happen. Now, another way that this can happen unintentionally is through kind of plant medicine things, right? Plant medicine ceremonies like ayahuasca or plant medicine, taking mushrooms or anything like that. The person leading you through your ceremony could have great fucking intentions, right? They could have no bad intentions at all. They could really, really actually want to help people. They could really feel like plant medicine helps you. It does in the moment, right? It's kind of like you have these realizations in the moment, but then what happens when dark forces are involved is you're sacrificing then another part of your life to go to shit. So you might feel better in the moment. You might even be healing things in the moment, but then another part of your life then completely suffers because now the dark forces are corded in and they'll let you heal that thing. So you keep going back so they can keep cording in more because you think it's working, but they'll fuck up a totally different area of your life. So the people leading these ceremonies, they want to help people. They feel called to help people. They have no bad intention, but what they are not aware of is that maybe they might be aware of heavy energy or that kind of thing. But again, they're clearing it with sage. They're clearing it with just setting the intent that they're gone. Again, that's like somebody coming into my house and me going, I set the intent, you're not here. I set the intent, you're not here. I set the intent, you're not here. They're not going to leave. Like, they're going to be like, no, I'm going to kill your fucking family, bitch. Like they're literally like, that's not going to work. You have to get them to leave with force. We look like we're physical beings, but we're really not. We are just slowed down matter. We are just energetic beings. So how you get the energetic dark force beings to leave is also with force. So the sage, the setting the intent that only source and light are here, it's not going to fully like keep them away. Like they will easily cord back. And the only way to get them away is through actual force, which we learn inside the Fuck Dark Forces course. So these teachers who are holding.
There it is. The only way to get rid of the dark forces is to buy my course about how to get rid of the dark forces. I think Suzanne was the one that said it earlier in the chat. But these people will continue to make you believe that there is something wrong with you so that they can sell you a solution for that problem. And that's not specific to this girl. It's like whether it's the dark forces, whether it's the reason why you don't have clients in your business, whether it's why you have no confidence, whether it's why you can't get a relationship, as long as you keep believing that there is something wrong with you, I will still be able to sell you a solution to that imaginary problem. Like, hello, lady, why are we making stuff up? It's so frustrating.
These ceremonies, they might think they're clearing them, and they might have the best intentions to clear out heavy energy or whatever they think it may be, and they might have they have the best intentions to help people, and they're incredible people. Like, it is nothing about, like, they're incredible gifted people who are holding these ceremonies, but what they're missing is the full knowledge of dark forces that my soul has so lovingly decided it wanted to master in this life, which came with a lot of fun things for me. We can get into.
Again, it's giving, I'm not like the other coaches. I understand things in a way that you normies wouldn't be able to understand. You're just not as enlightened as I am. I'm so much better than all of you. But if you pay me money, you can be as good as I am. So it's just $8 cajillion. We'll look at her website after we're done listening and figure out how much it actually is. But I'm going to guess it's pretty expensive.
At some time, but a lot of getting attacked by them for a very long time to figure out how to properly clear them and get them off of me. Another story for a different day. So what happens is people in these plant medicine ceremonies, they're getting helped at first. Like, they're having an incredible experience of stripping down. What plant medicine does is it strips down your ego. It gets you out of your thinking brain. It just puts you straight into your intuition, right? Well, now the problem is when you're in your intuition, you have access to all different realms, all different dimensions. Your third eye is spread wide the fuck open across all realities, all timelines, all dimensions, anything that ever exists. You can go to fucking fairyland, that exists. You can go see leprechauns, that exists. Like, all these things exist, great and fun. But also now your third eye is spread out to realm 2, to realm, the other realms where dark forces can infiltrate and cloak themselves as angels and as guides. And so even when you're in the midst of a plant ceremony or of a plant medicine ceremony, you are maybe think you're talking to an angel, but it might be a dark force cloaked as an angel, or it might be an angel, but now your energy's still wide the fuck open. And now you're also wide open for dark forces to court in.
Is anyone following what she's saying? She lost me when she started to talk about the different realms. I'm a little lost, not gonna lie. I don't have anything to say because I don't even know what she's saying.
Now, what happens is you're not clearing, is people aren't clearing themselves after. They're not
After what?
taking care of themselves after, like, in that sense. And what happens is they think they've been helped. They think they have been, oh my gosh, this was such a beautiful experience. Like, I need to go back. It helped me so much. Yes, it helped them in that area, right? It totally helped them. But at the cost of what? At the cost of other entities courting it and then making other areas of their life dip down later. Maybe if anyone in here live right now has ever taken plant medicine, maybe you have experience of that. I don't know if you do, type it in the chat. But
oh, okay. I forgot we were talking about doing drugs. So she's saying if I do ayahuasca to heal, let's say, my childhood trauma, maybe it will help heal my childhood trauma, but now I'm going to have issues somewhere else in my life because there was dark forces involved in the ayahuasca, right? Is that what she's saying? Or did I just make that up? Because honestly, it sounds like she's kind of making it up. So really, what's the difference?
that's what happens is you feel like it really helped, but then you feel like, oh my God, I've got to go. Then you feel like really like shit in another area of life a few weeks later. And then you feel like you need to keep going back to keep getting that help. And then you just feel like it's almost becomes like this thing of like, I need this thing to like have intuition, right? So that's another way they can unintentionally infiltrate healing spaces. Now, here's a crazy story of sometimes the lack of knowledge that people have. I had that. Oh, wait, I want to actually see your experiences because I've never taken it, but this is just my intuitive thing that I've looked at. I've had that experience with ayahuasca. I saw literally a dark force around me months later. Yep. I knew that was the case and could sense that about plant medicine. So,
okay. Honestly, I thought it was kind of smart at first when she would like promote her membership. She's saying like, I record these videos live in my membership and then the perk of being in the membership is you can stay for the Q&A. Fine, whatever. Not a big fan of her like reading the chat as part of the podcast. Take it to YouTube, do a live stream if you want to interact with the chat, please. I usually listen to my podcast when I'm like out on a walk, I'm driving my car. Not interesting to me. Again, might just be my personal preference, but
Grateful for your courageous voice to say it out loud. So many well-meaning people say we all need it in order to ascend. I'm like, but silence works beautifully. Yes. Yes. The last time I partook in mushrooms, I had so much depression for the next week. Yep. Yeah, me in Mexico. That happened. Okay. So yes, this is a very, very common thing that can happen. So I even have a friend who had an experience. She used to take ayahuasca and then doesn't anymore, but she had an experience doing ayahuasca where she literally went to realm 2 where like a lot of like demons, dark force situations live. And
Phoenix, how many realms are there? How many realms? Let me know.
like she was so like fuck
Also, what realm am I in right now?
this, terrified. She came out of the experience and she said something to the person leading the ceremony, and they literally told her, "Oh, that's because you just had an ego death. That's good that happened." And so there's just like such a lack of dark force knowledge in some people who are leading these things, who are really, really gifted and who are really good intentioned. But just because you're really gifted and good intentioned doesn't mean that you also shouldn't be training in your gifts and training in these things in order to, lead people to the best of your ability. So that's how they can unintentionally infiltrate through a lot of those ways. Anytime you are any kind of not sober, even if it is plant medicine, you are spreading your energy wide open and you are so much more vulnerable to letting things plug into you. Now, you'll also hear people say in the healing world, well, if you don't have resonance with them, then they can't cord into you. That is accurate. But in order to not have resonance with them, that would mean you would have to be 100% balanced 24/7 in every single area of life all the time. I don't know about you, but your girl over here is not balanced 24/7 in every single area of life all the time. If you were, you would literally not even have to be on Earth. You would literally just cross over and be like, okay, completed my mission, right? So if you're on Earth, you will have emotions, you will have things to work through and elevate and lift, and you will have imbalances.
Okay, I'm just a little bit lost. I mean, I'm a lot of bit lost, but I'm very lost as to what this has to do with dark forces. Isn't that life? Like, isn't life just that sometimes certain things in our lives are going well and then other things are not? Like, what? Why do we have to bring the demons in? I guess I'm confused. I just feel like so many of these coaches, whether they're in the spiritual space, manifestation space, mindset coaching, life coaching, they want to like create these philosophies that are already echoed in reality. Like, you didn't invent this idea that sometimes good things happen and bad things happen. Why are we creating meaning for things that already have meaning or that already exist? Why are we inventing things that don't need to be invented, I guess, is my question. Because I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it, guys.
Even if you're balanced in 7 areas of life, you will have that one area that's like out of balance, right? So you will always probably have a certain type of resonance of what I call a hole in your creator field for them to cord into. My version of resonance is there's a hole in your creator field. Somewhere, somehow, some area, one or more of life, you're not seeing your full higher self potential. The hole is not as filled as it could be. And they can cord into that lower frequency kind of hole. We will always have those no matter how much we're balanced, because once we hit one level, as humans, we have a soul thing to want to grow. We're going to push ourselves to the next level where we're going to get unbalanced again so we can learn how to balance ourselves in that level. So there will always be some kind of hole in our creator field that, if we are not sober, making us way more vulnerable to those things to cord in.
Yes. Okay. Space Pastry says, my problem is she's not citing her sources. This whole episode is giving me weird vibes just because, again, it's coming across as like, all of these other people are doing this thing wrong, but I know how to do it right. Okay, but how do you know how to do it right? Again, where is the rubric? Where is the marker that we're following to determine what is good, what is bad? Who gave you the say to be like, you're the one that's enlightened, or you're the one that has light within you, and you can deem what is dark? Like, normally if you learn something or you possess a certain skill, you're able to definitively say, based on the research, this is good and this is bad. And this is how I know that this is good and this is bad. Not just, I decided that's evil and this is good, and I know it because I channeled it from the universe. It's so frustrating because it's the same problem we see in so much of the manifestation space, because there's nothing tangible or specific to be able to determine, this is the fact, or this is sort of the scale that we're going to measure things on. Because that doesn't exist, it's so easy for me as the provider to just say, oh, well, the reason why my thing didn't work for you is because of your own mindset. Like, I can push the blame on you because there's no actual backing to what I'm saying. I just pulled it out of my ass. So frustrating. Yeah, and I bet she has a program for every level. 100%. We're going to go through her website in a bit once we finish here, but exactly. They're lazy in explaining the ideas. They're just seeing what sticks. I honestly think that they just make things up and then see what parts of the stuff that they made up people choose to believe, and then they kind of ride that wave. That's at least the impression I get, based on the fact that there's no sources to anything she's saying.
And they love to do it during what you think is a healing space for you, because you're even more open. Because, if you're at a club, like partying or whatever, you're a little bit closed off because you're like, this is kind of sketchy, right? But at a healing ceremony, you're so open. You're like, this is safe. Everyone's safe. So you're way more open even then. And that's when they really love to just cord right in. So that's some ways that they can unintentionally infiltrate the healing world. The healers themselves, the teachers, they don't know this is really happening, or they're aware of dark forces. They think they're being cleared through sage or setting the intent.
They don't know what's happening, but I know what's happening because I'm so much smarter than everyone, and I know way more than everybody else. So I'm just so great.
And I choose you're not here. Again, to really send this home, that would be like someone coming in to my house wanting to kill everyone in my home, and me going, hold on, I set the intent, you're not here. They're not going to leave. They will only leave with force. That's the only way dark forces will also leave. Okay, so we're about to get into a little bit more of a triggering part, if that wasn't already triggering enough, of dark forces in the healing world. And that is intentional healers intentionally using dark forces in the healing world. And it happens more than you think. So this information that we're going to talk about today, this has been highly, highly useful in my life. Okay. And I can't even tell you the amount of students who I've seen even get hijacked by information in the healing world that's actually pretty absent of light, or there's some really, really high frequency things in there, but paired with some really low frequency things in there. So you feel really good going, but then there's like always this like thing. There's like always this like little thing.
But again, who is to determine what is high vibration and what is low vibration? You just get to decide because you decided you're the one that gets to determine that? Who made the rules? Somebody tell me.
But you just keep going back because you're like, oh, well, a lot of this information is great. And it's kind of like it's like that wolf in sheep's clothing that gets everybody. And the problem is when you're in these situations, it's kind of like Stockholm syndrome kind of happens. Like you almost fall in love with the person who like is kind of making you feel like shit after you leave. But there's like something that keeps drawing you back, but you don't really know why you're getting drawn back, if that makes sense. And it's not like it's very different from, how we talked about the difference between emotions and intuition. It's different from that. It's more like it's not like you're like, oh, like this doesn't work, I'm not going back. It's not that feeling. It's more of like, it's like, oh, well, everyone's going to this person, or like it's Oprah. Oprah has to be good. Like she's so nice to everyone, right?
Oh my God, I can't. It's like it's like Oprah. Oprah. Exactly. I don't follow her point at all. I can't when she talks like that. Ah! Like, if I'm trying to make a point, you'd think I'd at least have a bullet list of the points I want to make when I'm trying to prove my argument. I'm not just gonna turn on the camera and it's I can't even follow what she's saying. I forgot what she was talking about because I got so distracted by the likes and the ums and the Stockholm syndrome.
And so it's like, I'm just gonna go learn from Oprah because Oprah's like really well known and nice to everybody and like seems to be doing good. So I'm just gonna go learn from Oprah. It's kind of like, oh, everyone else is, so like I'm going to type of deal. But you're like, I don't really know why, because like something always feels a little bit off. Like you can just always feel like there's a little bit off kind of situation. And we'll talk a little more bit about that later. But oh, I have some things to share about Oprah, but we'll share that to the membership only a little bit later. So it's kind of like that wolves in sheep's clothing, or even like, not that this person's like a healer, but like Ellen on the Ellen show, right? Like, you know, she looks like my nonna, which is Italian for grandma, loves Ellen. And she's like, oh, Ellen's so sweet. She gives everybody gifts. Like, you should call Ellen for me. Like, get me on, tell Ellen I need help. And she like thinks Ellen is like this like super like nice person. Again, wolf in sheep's clothing. Ellen's actually on Epstein Island, like doing very inappropriate, dark things to children and a lot of other demonic things. So it's this happened, not that she's like a coach or a healer, but that's just kind of an example of what can happen in the yeah. Well, we can go down that rabbit hole too a little bit later.
Yes, William, if you missed the beginning, she has a, I'm assuming, Facebook group, some kind of community membership, $50 a month, where she live streams. And then at the end of the like lesson for the day, you have the chance to ask a Q&A. And then the portion of the live stream before the Q&A starts is posted as her podcast. So that's the podcast. There's no editing or anything. They just clip it from the live stream. Space Pastry says, I got distracted and now I am really lost. Me too. Not really sure what the celebrities that she keeps name dropping have to do with anything. I'm a lot bit lost, actually. Let's be honest.
So that's what can happen in the healing world as well. More in the healing world, it's it could be as gross as what Ellen does, but it's a little more for different reasons most of the time. We'll get into that. So the stuff we are going into now with how it is intentional in the healing world and even unintentional. Both of these ways of dark forces infiltrating the healing world, it completely shuts down your gifts. So it shuts down your intuitions, it shuts down your abilities, it shuts down your abilities to heal, it shuts down your abilities to access higher frequency information out there, because dark forces don't want you to access higher frequency information out there. So even if you've taken ayahuasca or plant medicine, you might be so committed to the plant medicine being the best information, and you're not even maybe willing or like curious about other information. That is a kind of symptom of like, let's keep her kind of going to this. We can go down that rabbit hole too. I won't say that name, but we can totally go down that rabbit hole as well later. I won't say it live on the podcast, but us in the membership here can go into that. Okay. So
I kind of want to join the membership just so I can hear about who she's talking shit about.
it shuts down a lot of your abilities, and you guys have like everything to gain if you can just get to a place of going like, you know what? My higher self has planned for me to be in this situation today, to hear this information today, and it planned for me to get this knowledge today that we're going into. And if you're hearing this right now, this episode, then it probably means that today is the day that you're supposed to uncover this for yourself and everything can start to be different for you. So I also want to talk about that anything that you've experienced out there, like if you've done meditations from someone who was purposely putting dark forces into the meditation or any of that, it can all be undone. I'm a proponent of like, I'm not going to say anything that I don't have a fucking solution for. All those things can be undone. So I don't want anything to like scare you.
And they can be undone by buying my $8 million course called Undo the Darkness. Buy it before midnight or it's going to be $12 million.
Anything can be undone at any time in your brain and your energy using energy work. It's quite easy. In the intuition level 4, I was just teaching how to get rid of the COVID shot from your body. Anything can be undone. So don't worry if like you're like, oh my God, I listened to that meditation. Like, what do I do? Anything.
I need to go back and hear what she said about the vaccine.
At any time in your brain and your energy using energy work. It's quite easy. In the intuition level 4, I was just teaching how to get rid of the COVID shot from your body. Anything can be undone. So
in intuition level 4, so she must have a course where she teaches different levels of intuition. She can teach you how to get rid of the COVID shot from your body using your intuition. We've gone too far. We've gone too far. If we legitimately believe that you can receive a vaccination and then use your intuition to get rid of the vaccination, honey, we've got problems. We've got problems. Oh my God. Whew. This is something.
Don't worry if like you're like, oh my God, I listened to that meditation. Like, what do I do? Anything can be undone. So you're not like fucked, at all forever or even past today. So you're like, oh my God, the suspense. Like, can you just get into it? One last thing though, before I even go into today, what's going on, if this is not you guys in here, but if
before I go into what's going on, we're at 22 minutes and we haven't, that's not even what she was here to talk
this
about
is the
today.
first episode.
Sorry? Oh God, exactly. Intuition level 4, you can weaken your immune system. Totally worth it. Using your mind. Ooh. Yes. Couldn't she use the intuition to purge the demons too? Yes, that's why you have to pay her so that you can also become intuition level 4. And do the things you need to do to get rid of the demons, the negative energy, the darkness within.
You have ever heard from me. Don't make this the first episode you've ever heard from me because you probably don't fully trust me yet. So until you're like, oh, okay, like
I'm based on what I have heard in the first 20 minutes, I'm pretty confident that no matter how many podcasts of yours I listen to, I'm probably not going to trust you regardless because you've already ruined your credibility, allegedly, in my opinion.
Can feel that she has good intentions for me. Don't listen to this one because this one is quite triggering and it's just better for you to listen to other ones first so you can build trust in me and what I've studied and what I've learned through intuition. And
yeah, I would actually much rather you indoctrinate yourself into my cult that I've created, my little internet community here, so that once I start to say like more and more unhinged things, you don't actually question what I'm saying. Because if you start by just listening to my most unhinged episodes, you're going to think I'm crazy. So I would actually rather ease you into it by saying things that like aren't too crazy, but just like a little bit weird. Enough that you like actually consider what I'm saying to be true so that I later down the road can manipulate you into believing whatever I want you to believe in order to push my agenda, sell my online courses, and get you to buy my coaching. So don't listen to this episode. Go somewhere else. And then come back to this episode so I can sell you my shit.
And all of those things. Okay. So let's go into the wolf in
Exactly. Monica's saying she's giving the disclaimer now. We're 22 minutes in. That's what I don't get.
sheep's clothing, which over, I'd say, I mean, 70% of the well known, like super, super famous healers or coaches probably have going on. Whether they fully are aware of it or not, you'll hear me talk about in Fuck Dark Forces, like in Hollywood. Sometimes people won't fully know what they're doing to get a contractional dark force put on them. So for example, you are a actor and you really want to make it big. Well, someone could come up to you and be like, "Hey, I know how to give you this next role in this big movie, a lot of money, power, fame. I have some energy stuff that I can use to kind of help you with that. All you have to do is sign this contract." They might not know what the fuck this person's talking about, but they sign the contract. Well, signing that contract is basically allowing then these people to then put certain energies on you, absent light energies, to then aid you in getting money, power, and fame through not the source way, through not the source light route way. Okay. That same, and we dive into a whole modules on that in Fuck Dark Forces, but the same thing can happen in the healing world. It's kind of like, hey, like I can put you on these big platforms. All you have to do is kind of sign this contract, and it's just like an energy we're going to kind of push towards you. So some of these healers or coaches may have done that, or some of these healers and coaches may know exactly and not fully know what they're doing, or some of these healers and coaches may know exactly what they're fucking doing and are very, very, very intentionally infiltrating their stuff with dark forces. And I'll explain why they would want to do that in a
Exactly. Suzanne, that's the part I don't get. Suzanne's asking, so how are you any different? Also, who put you in charge? Who allowed you, the person creating this podcast, to decide that coach over there is evil, this one has bad intentions, that one has good intentions, 80%, those people over there, bad. Me, my friends, good. Especially when you align yourself, per last week's live stream, with people who have a history, allegedly, of not doing well for their clients. Like if you go to last week's episode and look up the person whose podcast we listen to, and you look her up on Reddit and you see what past clients are saying, allegedly, it's not great. And yet I'm supposed to listen to you, who is friends with and aligns yourself with that individual, and believe that you know who's operating in alignment with positive energies and who is operating out of evil. Because I have questions. I want to know who put you in charge, and I want to talk to them. I need to talk to Source. Somebody get me on the phone with Source. I got questions.
A second. So this means there's a lot of, it's well known, like people who are very, very well known who are probably doing this. People who aren't as well known are probably unintentionally having dark force stuff on them if they don't know how to clear. People who are well known could have the chance of them knowing what they're doing or signing a contract, not fully knowing what they're doing, but like signing a contract. Okay. So we're not going to like name drop too much on the podcast, but we can name drop in the membership. But there are a lot of well-known public speakers and healers who have contracts with dark forces, who when you look at them, you're going to go, oh my gosh, they're amazing. They're such a bright being. They have such a mastery, such an understanding of how energy works, or such an understanding of how life works. And on the outside, they can make it look like they are absolutely bright light and a high frequency. Okay. And it's not until you learn about dark forces that you can see kind of through that, and you can see what the truth is at the core. Intuition.
Phoenix says, hold on, am I muted? No, I'm not. Okay. Phoenix says there was a solid 2 to 3 year period where some of these spiritual coaches would just call each other out by being hijacked by dark forces. They're all making passive aggressive podcast episodes talking about each other without naming each other. So funny.
is kind of like taking plant medicine, how plant medicine lowers the veil, right? You can just do that with intuition and you can lower the veil at any time without needing anything outside of you. And also, not have to have other things poured into you because you're totally like sober while you're doing it. So you can use intuition to kind of lower the veil. And that's why intuition is so fucking helpful, even just for your own life of like what information you should be taking in or like listening to. So you have these leaders and these teachers in the spiritual world or the self-help motivational world who talk like a really high frequency game. And but they have partnerships with beings that are from other realms, and these beings they have disconnected from source. The beings have, okay? So, which are the dark forces. They have the dark forces, the beings have disconnected from source. They're now absent of light. They have chosen to go different paths and have more power than source was willing to give them. Okay. They felt like they couldn't get what they wanted through source. So even angels, certain angels of certain realms, even feel like the fallen angel you hear about, right? Like they couldn't get what they wanted through source and they weren't willing to like do the actual work like you guys are in here. They just wanted it quick, easy, done. I'm so desperate. I'm so in fear. I'm so low. I want the quick, easy route out. So they chose to disconnect from source. And because they wanted more power than source was willing to give them in that moment because they weren't willing to put in the work to create through the source way of creation. Okay. You can create money and a successful career through source. It just takes more intentional work and doing it through the light way. They didn't want to do that. Okay. So they wanted it quick, easy because they were so much in desperation of feeling so, so low. These beings, right? And then people do that too. And then the people match up with the beings and then they like start working together. So that's kind of where I'm going here with the story. So,
Honey, you lost me. I don't even know where the story started. Harrison says, drop a 1 in the chat if you're rooting for Team Demon. Honestly, I'm right there.
they have chosen different paths, these absent of light, energetic dark force beings. And because of that, human beings to them are like batteries, okay? People who have light and who are connected to source.
Sorry, human beings to who? Who are we batteries to? To source energy? Yeah, Suzanne, I can't make sense of any of this. No, I'm lost. I'm very, very, very lost. Welcome, Jackie. Hello, hello.
Source, they are batteries to these absent of light beings because nothing can exist without light. Like literally nothing can live or survive without light. The sun is why food grows, is why we have food and all of that. So nothing can grow or be nourished without light. So they still need light. So they start to hook into people as batteries. So these are things that they can, there are things that they can do to hook in and nourish themselves and have power and do whatever they desire. So in order to make that happen, they partner up with human beings. And so what's in it for these human beings? Okay. Before that, real quick, these partnerships are things that will destroy your lives. Okay. They will ruin your relationships. They will wreck like success and career. They will wreck health and so much more, but only later in life. At first, you get a really kind of big up in life. It's kind of like a Justin Bieber, how he went up really, really quick and now he is completely falling apart. Like, is he okay? We don't know. So I would even we used to go to the same church in LA. I would see him in church and he would be like rocking back and forth.
What is her obsession with celebrities? So far in this entire episode, she has mentioned no one but celebrities. I don't know. It's not relatable. I want to know name the coaches. Name the coaches who you think are operating with dark, evil forces. That's what I want to know. Tell me the tea. Tell me the names. I don't care about the celebrities who are possessed by demons. Not my problem. I want to know who should I be giving my money to? Because I'm assuming the answer is you. But why don't you just say that?
And like literally like as the music was playing, he would be like I could see him like trying to get these energies out of his body. Like maybe he didn't fully know what it was, but he felt like there was shit in there. And I would see him like literally trying to like get this stuff out of his body. And it's kind of like that. It's like you have a really quick up in career and in life and in health and in success, and then you have a massive crash when you work with these kinds of entities. So we've got this like type of coach or motivational person or healer that people are attracted to. And they've got these huge, huge, huge followings, right? Like well known across the world. And it makes it really difficult to figure out, are they in it for the right reasons, the wrong reasons, because they talk really good game. And you might even
Again, what are the right reasons? What are the wrong reasons? Who determines what the right and wrong reasons are? What are your reasons for being in it? I have many, many questions.
feel really, really good when you're around them. And we're going to talk about why this happens in a second, but this makes up a huge portion of the people who are just really, really known in the world in the healing and coaching space. Okay. Like that's kind of what we're going to talk about right now. So then the other type of person is like the younger healer, the younger coach who has studied under one of these teachers. And they themselves are a light being, but they are working with knowledge that they haven't been able to intuitively vet. So they're teaching things that is good and is light, but there's still some like dark force information infiltrated. So you don't fully like get the click or get the shift, right? And we want to be able to have the
Exactly,
intuitive
Suzanne.
skills and learn precise intuition, which is why I fucking love teaching it. It's why we have our intuitive courses. Because we want to learn that precise intuition and that awareness of dark forces so they can look at information, they can see like the gold nuggets, even if it is like some of it is like not good information, they can find the gold nuggets and they can pull that information and then kind of like leave the rest. Or you can see like, oh, this meditation is actually reprogramming my subconscious in not a good way. Like maybe I shouldn't listen to that, right? Instead of going, oh, everyone else listens to this guy's really famous, like let me listen to his meditation, right? So like people have this bias of like, oh, if they're famous and well known, they must be really good. But if you look at Hollywood, how do you get famous and well known? By signing a lot of like shit and contracts, right? In the healing space and the coaching space, there are ascended masters and light beings who are meant to be famous and well known, like a Jesus Christ or like certain people like that, right? And they are here to be that, to help and heal the world. And that is a thing that is for sure happens. And also there are people, coaches, healers in the healing space that are well known because they've signed certain contracts that have helped them kind of get there with absent of light beings.
Okay, what are these contracts she's talking about? Are these actual contracts that she legitimately thinks people sign? They sign away their soul? Or is it more of like a metaphorical contract that you sign with the devil in order to be successful? I mean, I agree with the sentiment that there are a lot of people on the internet who, just because they have a certain size following and they can speak confidently on camera, people believe what they say to be gospel. And I think that can be really dangerous. I'm just confused as to how this woman is any different than that. Like if we go to her Instagram account, she has 15,000 followers, which is pretty sizable for Instagram. Probably gives her some level of credibility in terms of like people's perception of her. So who gets to say whether or not what you're saying is true or not? Just because you have a following of 15,000 people, does that mean that you are a credible source of information and that I should believe what you've said? How am I to know that you haven't signed one of these contracts, these alleged evil contracts, right? Suzanne says, I'm so confused as to what her point is. I think her point is everyone else is terrible except me, so buy my program. Like, all this episode is giving me is everyone else is bad, but I am good. So come join my membership, buy my program, etc., etc., and I'll teach you how to be good too, because I said so.
So just because someone's famous and well known does not mean it's because, you know, it was all of light. Sometimes it could be, right? There's a lot of people where that's the case, of course. But then there's also, because that was like their sole pull to have that happen. But then there's people who maybe that wasn't their sole pull and they were mad about it because they wanted the fame and the money and the power and to be seen as like a good person, right? And so they took a different route, or they weren't willing to get there through source. They weren't willing to do the inner work to get there. So they took the fast route to get there, which is never the best route in my opinion. So people don't really have the ability to look at and feel into who is really actually fully light and who isn't. And this is where the big problem is, like where you see
Again, but who defines who is or what is considered fully light and what isn't? Like, none of this makes any sense. I want to see your sources, lady. Insightful Sage says, yay, so glad I tuned in. You know what? Welcome to the live stream. I have one single piece or question for you now that you've joined.
Are you feeling happy? Are you feeling grateful? Are you feeling empowered? Are you feeling relief? Are you feeling, how does that feel?
How does it feel to be here in the live chat? Let me know in the comments.
Thousands of people who feel like they're doing really, really good things. But then when you look in on the work that they're doing from an intuitive perspective, they actually have a lot of information that's infiltrated by dark forces, even if it sounds good. Like Oprah, for example. Oprah at one point was actually a really, really high frequency light being. Okay. So a really high frequency light being. And she actually had really good fucking information. Well, one day, it feels like when I look at intuitively, she either got threatened or her family got threatened. And it was basically like, you're going to basically either do what we say, come onto our side. This was like the dark force side, right? You're going to basically come onto our side, or you're going to go away in hiding forever. We're going to clone you, and the clone is going to do what we want it to do, right? Because they didn't like that Oprah had a high, had like an actual high frequency information.
Do people actually believe this? This doesn't make any logical sense because, okay, let's pretend. Let's follow the brainwave here. Oprah is a light being. Then she gets threatened by the dark forces. The dark forces say, you either have to come over to the dark side or you have to get cloned. Like, what? Ah! I cannot even take any of this seriously. Someone in the chat asks, how do we know if she's legit? Exactly. Who decided that what this woman is saying is true? Who decided that she's the one that gets to determine who is good and who is evil? Guys, I'm getting angry. I'm getting upset. I don't like it. I hate it here.
And actually good things to say, and she was actually helping people. They didn't like that. They wanted her help to be infiltrated with a little bit of dark force information, like really, really good things. And then there was just a little bit of dark force information, kind of throw people off and fuck people up. It's kind of like The Secret, the movie The Secret, or the book The Secret. Great information for the most part, but then there's like some things thrown in there that will make it not work, so that you then stop thinking that manifestation works, because they don't want you to think manifestation works. So it's like, oh, there's really good information, but then they throw in a little curveball, so then it doesn't work. So then you stop believing that it works because.
No, she doesn't think Oprah was cloned. She thinks Oprah opted for the other option, which is to come over to the dark side. So now Oprah is evil, allegedly.
They don't want you to know how manifestation works. So if you know how manifestation actually works, then they lose a lot of their power, right? So what happens is, oh my gosh, train of thought, I just went down a whole rabbit hole. Okay, so Oprah, what happened was, when I intuitively look in, Oprah said, not signing your fucking deals. I'll literally go away forever,
Okay.
Clone me, whatever I want nothing to do with it. So the Oprah you see today is quite literally a clone of the.
Okay, so never mind. I was wrong. Oprah did get cloned because she refused to sign with the evil.
Actual Oprah. It is not the real Oprah. And the clone is now run by these absent of light beings and absent of light people. And so, because everyone looks up to Oprah, which they should, because at one point, because she was actually giving really high frequency information, they didn't like that it wasn't infiltrated. They didn't like that she wouldn't like sign other things or like do other things or actually take people down a wrong path. So she opted out. She's in hiding somewhere, just walking around in plain sight. The Oprah you see, everywhere else is actually a clone. So
Oh my God. I can't. I'm sorry. I have tolerance for people believing in things that I necessarily don't believe in. However, I think we've taken it too far. This is too much for me. This is too much for me to condone someone believing in because it is so far detached from reality. Like, the real Oprah is living somewhere off the radar, off the grid, and the clone Oprah is the like, why did we turn this into a conspiracy theory? I thought we were just going to learn about coaches that are using their power for evil. Phoenix says, welcome to the spiritual rabbit hole. I don't want to be here. I don't want to be here, guys. I hate this. My intuition tells me this woman is nuts, but it could just be the dark forces taking over. You know what? Yeah, this is just, it's a little bit too much for me. And again, per her own words, she said, what I'm intuitively hearing or intuitively seeing. Okay, but honey, I think it's time to get some help. I think you're hallucinating.
That Oprah, again, everyone looks up to her because it's Oprah. They rightfully looked up to the old Oprah. They shouldn't be looking up to this Oprah because this Oprah is a clone. This Oprah has great information, but it's weaved in with absent of light information to kind of create this like a false hope kind of thing. Cloning people is a thing. They clone animals all the time. You probably have heard of that. They are about 100 years ahead in technology than they lead out to be.
Who is they? They are 100 years ahead. And also correct, to Zip's point, if someone got cloned by real science, it would be a baby. We've been talking about, so as many of you know who have been here a while, we unfortunately lost our cat last month. And we saved his hair, some of his hair, in the freezer because we're hoping that the price of cloning goes down significantly in the next like 10 years or so. But we would have a kitten. If we cloned the cat, it would be a kitten. It wouldn't be an adult cat. Like, if you cloned a person, it would be a baby. You wouldn't just clone a person and they would be the same person. Like, tell me you don't. Again, these people have probably barely passed high school science and they're telling you things that are not true. I'm sorry. Now you can all make fun of me in the chat for wanting to clone my cat.
Or introduced to the world. So they're 100 years ahead in technology than
who is they?
We would ever be introduced to at all points all the time. So you can look up, a lot of people are clones. Like you can look up on YouTube, Will Smith in an interview saying he's a clone and it'll come up. Like someone asked Will Smith, like, how do you like have energy for all these projects? He goes, oh, well, I have a clone for movies. I have a clone for singing. I have a clone for this. I have a clone for my family. Like he's straight up just telling everyone that he has clones and he's not lying. Like, but people think like, oh, he's so funny. He's joking. They're not joking. Like they're literally just telling you what's going on.
Per who? How do you know that that they're not joking? Are you Will Smith? Are you the clone of Will Smith reincarnated into a blonde white woman?
And so what can happen is if Oprah said, oh yeah, I'll come to your side, she would have then signed some contracts. She would have still been there, like not been a clone, but she would have had dark forces corded into her and running her. And she was a light, so she wouldn't want to do that. But her family and her lives were threatened. So what else is she going to do, right? She's like, I want nothing to do with you anymore. They probably just pay her off and who knows where she is, right? She could be hiding in plain sight for all we know. Maybe you've passed her on the street and you don't even realize. So that's kind of what can happen. That's an extreme case. It's not all that extreme, but that's an extreme example of kind of what I am talking about. So, and what happens is through this information, yes, some of it's really good, but the part that is the absent of light information, what it's doing is it's actually shutting down people's gifts. It's shutting down people's intuition and ability to kind of think for themselves. And it's shutting down their opportunities in their lives. And they're totally, totally unaware of this. Okay. Because you feel really good when you're around them because they are saying some good information and they are saying things that are really accurate. It's kind of like there's a I'll tell you the name, not on the podcast, but team will cut this.
Stop. If you are going to use your podcast as a closed paid community, fine. But stop saying things and then going, actually, I'm not going to include that in the podcast. We'll put this in the paid one. Just put it in the paid one. You don't have to tell me. This is annoying.
We'll cut this name out, but we can share the rest of the story. So this healer, this person, this teacher, his books and information are really, really good. Like incredible information. Neuroscience, really great information. Read his books. Like they're great, like really good. But they haven't figured out how to infiltrate you through books. So that's why you can read his books. You go do his meditation. What his meditations are doing are actually rewiring your subconscious to feel better and heal yourself in that moment. But it's going to cause another body ailment down the road later.
Is it Joe Dispenza? Is she throwing shade at Joe Dispenza? Say his name. Say the name.
And that's what the literal meditations are doing. So yes, you're going to feel good, like it healed your thing, but it's literally wired and programmed to then have you have a different body ailment later and like make it even like make another one pop up. So that's what it's doing, which is wild because I intuitively knew that I actually, yeah. There was one point in my like younger years of younger, ew, that sounds so weird. My like earlier years of doing this where I wasn't really looking for dark forces in the healing world. And I would go to do his meditations and I literally could not focus. Like my higher self would not let me focus. I would never go into like that deep meditative state that you can get into when you meditate and that I can get into if I meditate to just something else or my own self or whatever. Like could never get into it. Like my higher self would never let me open up my energy to him. So 3 times of trying it, I was like, fuck this. I'm just not supposed to do this. Now come to find out, when I looked into why, I'm like, oh my God, it's because of the stuff and the portals and the entities and the programming that's infiltrated into that. You can program it.
It could be Andrew Huberman, but does he do guided meditations? I don't know if he has recordings of that.
Anything. So with this audio, I program that whoever listens to it is connected to gold and pink light. You can program things for good. You can program things for bad.
Yeah, I don't know if she's talking about Joe Dispenza. That was just my guess because I know he talks a lot about neuroscience. But whoever she's talking about, some famous male neuroscience expert who writes books and records meditations, allegedly the meditations are channeling dark energy. So don't listen to them. Read the books, but don't listen to the meditations, is what she said.
Right? So you could program that if someone listens to this, like what he does is if someone listens to this, they're going to start to feel better. They're going to think my work works, but it's going to give them another body ailment. And it's like, it helps you, but then it hurts you at the same time is kind of what starts to happen. And that's specifically in his stuff. Books are great information in the books. I don't doubt that what he says in the books is about his own life and how he healed himself is 100% real, accurate.
Okay, someone else is guessing Sam Harris. So we got a few options here.
Truth. And also there's some other intentions there of he was really, really, really in fear, felt really, really powerless in his life, felt really, really, really insecure, didn't want to go the source route of helping people because it doesn't look so glamorous at first. The source route of helping people, you're helping 2 people. 2 people show up to your course, right? For 2 years. Then maybe 10 come. Then maybe 20 come 3 years later, right? That is a very natural progression of a healer that's aligned with source, right? He didn't want to necessarily do that. So there were other things and other contracts and things that happened. And then what happens is the dark force, absent of light, needs to get light from a human. And the human who's working with the dark force wants to get money, fame, and power. They pair up. The human basically is like, okay, like I'll help you court into the people who come to my thing. You can get your food and your light from these light beings. And then you can help me get more money, fame, and power. And that's like kind of like the deal that they have. That happens in Hollywood as well in a little bit of a different way. So
Stop talking about Hollywood and celebrities when the episode is titled The Dark Side of Spirituality. Is every healer good? Why don't we talk about healers? Why do I gotta keep talking about celebrities? What is your obsession, lady? Get to the point.
Over the last, like, I don't know, like 10,000 years, 9,000 years, maybe less, but dark forces have had major influence on humanity. And honestly, even more control than light beings have had up until this point. The tables are turning now, especially since 2024, the tables are turning. But up until around like 2020 through 2024, they have really had a massive control, way more than light beings, over humanity. Now, tables are turning, and that's changing, which is fun. But that's kind of what has happened. So when you are out of the third realm, which is what we are in, Earth is like kind of being humans, kind of like we're in the third realm. You can be a fourth or fifth realm being in the third realm. We learned that in Dark Forces. Anyway, to not go off path.
Okay, so to Phoenix's point earlier, I believe realm, she means dimensions. So we're in the third dimension, but you can be in the fourth or fifth dimension living in the third dimension. Maybe.
When you go outside of the rules and the laws of the third realm of like balance and things like that, there are beings here that they have gotten off the source path and they need source energy in order to power up and in order to have abilities. And this third realm, which is Earth.
Paige, I absolutely agree. Paige says, BS that she would reveal this information but only share the person's name in her paid content. Irresponsible to ignite fear like this, but then make people dependent on her for more information. 100%. We gotta gatekeep it behind our paywall so that I can keep making money while I spread misinformation all over the internet.
Is the perfect place for them to power up, get their light, get their food, because the beings on this planet have access to the most pure levels of source energy. Just like all you guys are all very connected to source. So this is a desire for them to like want to control Earth. So for the last thousands of years, they have really infiltrated the knowledge, the teachings, and everything that we are taught. And they've done it in a way that's very, very fucking smart. They're genius. Honestly, they're brilliant. And what they've done is they have thousands and thousands of years ago, they've appeared to humanity as giving good information, right? They kind of give like this good technology, like this technology that helps you heal, this technology that helps you get the things you want, right? And the absence of light beings, dark beings can heal, okay? They can do all of the energy work stuff, okay? Which makes it even more tricky because they have been like quote healers or coaches who have have massive fame and massive success after all these years of like all these miracles happening. And the miracles are actually happening, but again, at what cost? What happens is then somewhere else in their life just completely hits the fucking fan. And not in a way that's like for growth, but in a way where it's actually like was never supposed to happen for growth, right? We all have shit hit the fan in our lives for like growth purposes, right? I say it all the time when shit hits the fan, like it's to help us grow. But this is more so not a like thing to help us grow. This is more actually a thing to hold us back from our growth that happens. And so what happens is
I legitimately think that she doesn't even know what she's saying, and that's why these pauses are so long and painful, because she loses her train of thought making up this bullshit. Like, I'm gonna make an hour-long podcast where I just make stuff up for one whole hour. Dark forces, third dimension. I live here, third dimension, third realm, sorry. The dark forces, they're coming to be bad and do not nice things. Yep, okay. Dark forces coming to do not nice things. So I am good. Give me money and I'll help you get rid of the dark forces. Okay, buy my program. But she does that for an hour. And that's why this is so painful to listen to. Lady, what the heck? I'm gonna have to cut that part out. That's what, 1:30 and 30 seconds. Oh my God, send help, guys. SOS.
Happen in the healing world. There's incredible healers who are doing this stuff, and then there's healers who have other intentions.
Grapes is code word for another word that sounds like grapes, but isn't grapes.
Out there, okay? And people, it's really hard for people to believe this stuff when it comes out because we have this kind of like fame bias. I even heard someone say this the other day. So my fiance Justin hit over 100K like in his community on Instagram, and his friend said to him, "Oh, good, now people will start taking you seriously now that you have those numbers." And I was just like, oh my God, like people really have this fame bias that, oh, if there's a lot of people watching and there's a lot of people, you know, this person's really, really high up or really, really well known. Like, of course they're incredible. Of course they're great. And that's where intuition has to really start to come in. And that's why I swear by intuition. And side note, I know our intuition level 1 has totally filled out and sold out in literally 2 fucking minutes. And the next one we did sold out in like 24 hours. But we are opening at least 1 more, possibly 2 more level 1s for you next week. So stay tuned on that if you missed out. But it's really important to use your intuition to start to understand what's going on. And the truth will always make itself known when we are using our intuition. It will always rise above the garbage, the low frequency information. And because high frequency information always makes its way to the top, it will always make its way to visibility naturally, like how it's doing in the world right now. But also you can make that happen for yourself if you know how to properly use your intuition and train it. And also know how to use your intuition without emotions infiltrating and without dark forces infiltrating. And that's a big one. A lot of people, just like how we talked about, think emotions are their intuition. They also will think the dark forces are their intuition. And because dark forces are really, really good at posing as your higher self, or really good at posing as a source-like energy. So it's also very important to be able to differentiate. So these beings, thousands and thousands of years ago, they bring their healing technologies here, okay? Like alien beings, reptilian beings, and they share it with humans. And then humans who, this was thousands of years ago this happened, okay? So at the time, humans didn't know good versus bad, how to intuitively look in. They didn't even understand dark forces. And they just came at a time thousands of years ago where humans didn't understand.
Okay, this woman has, and I haven't mentioned it, but I've been noticing it for the last hour and a half that we've been listening to this. I guess it's like a Valley Girl accent. I don't know where she ends every sentence in It's driving me crazy. I can't unhear it now. Listen, now I just ruined the listening experience for all of you, so I'm not sorry. If I have to suffer, you have to suffer with me.
Understand like good or bad or dark forces, or didn't really understand much. So what happens is a lot of people's gifts when it comes to well, before we go into that, what happened here thousands of years ago was people didn't know it was bad. They learned these teachings from these alien beings, these reptilian beings, and they thought it was good. They're like, oh, okay, like I can heal myself using this versus going the source route. Like they didn't really like know or understand. Well, it continued to get passed down generations. And now it's turned into like a thing of like, okay, I either fully know what I'm doing and I'm just going to kind of fuck up other people's lives for my own benefit, or I don't fully know what I'm doing, but like I'm signing some stuff so I can have, you know, money, power, fame, whatever it may be. So as you start to work with dark force information, beings who have kind of stepped away from source, which are the dark forces have stepped away from source, they kind of seem like gods, or they may impersonate source or God. But what happens is they come in, they're going to give you wins, but all the wins with the information, they cost like 20 times more. So maybe you're getting to a place.
I don't know what she's saying, guys. She's lost me again. We're talking about lizards, aliens, clones. Guys, I am losing it.
Of certain parts of your body healing, like literally disease healing. But what you're losing is something that's way more than that. And what's actually happening is like it's not really it's not necessarily healing happening. It's like other core makeups, core components that your abilities kind of get shut down as a part of your body gets healed. So like your intuition gets fucked while a part of your body gets healed, or you get sick later when a part of your body gets healed, or you have cantankerous things in your life happen like right after a part of your body gets healed, right? And it's a
what does cantankerous mean? Is that a word? Did she just make that word up? Am I being an ass? Is that a real word? Cantankerous?
Again, there's a difference between like
me too
things going on in your life and like complicated things happening for soul growth and trauma happening for soul growth versus what this is. Everyone like feel that difference? Make sense? Okay. So
no, it doesn't make sense. Help.
When you so you have to basically invite them in, okay? And giving them permission to help heal you, to bring about something in your life, that gives them permission in. So if you are willingly going to that person that we just talked about, that guy's like seminar, and being like, oh, I'm here to help heal, you are now letting them in, right? You're inviting them in because you've decided I'm going to help heal. I'm going to go listen to this. They're going to get in me, right? Infiltrate, whatever. Now, easy. You can just learn how to clear them off and be literally fine. But the problem is people don't know how to clear them off. And so, or they don't know about them, or they don't know that they're getting them on them. So they live with them. And that's where the problem lies, right? We're going to get them on. We're going to have to clear them off. You're going to get them on just going to the fucking grocery store sometimes, right? It's just going to be a thing. But when you clear them off, you're good. It's when you don't and you don't know they're on you is when they will start to cause a lot of problems in your life. So that is what kind of happens with that. And so I want you to...
That's kind of what happens with that.
I want you to...
I don't think I'm going to make it to the end of this episode,
think about
guys.
The highest levels of desperation you've ever been under, and then times that by 100. What would you have done in those situations to make it go away, right? That's where these people who go absent of light routes to fame and success feel. They're so desperate times 100. They're so in fear.
I'm going to need to go back and figure out what timestamp catastrophes happened at. Maybe around an hour 32 or something. Catastrophes. This podcast episode is catastrophes, guys. Help.
They're so desperate, and they don't want to go the route of actually healing themselves and actually learning the right tools to create from light.
Okay, I think we get the point. Suzanne says, turn it off. Let's go to her website and maybe her Instagram. We can watch some of her Instagram content and we'll see what her actual offers are. That was truly one of the most unhinged things I think we've ever listened to on this YouTube channel. Exactly. We shouldn't finish this episode, but we all get a trophy for trying and making it this far. To that, I will say this. Congratulations. Paige is asking how we found this person. So we listened to a podcast episode last week that this particular coach was the guest on. So last week, the podcast episode was something about chatting with so the woman is a psychic, allegedly. How to use your intuition to achieve your goals was the concept, I believe, last week. And the things she was saying in last week's podcast were so unhinged that we then went to her Instagram and saw that she was talking about people using spirit for evil. And that's how we ended up here. So welcome. Maybe you'd be interested in last week's live stream as well. If you enjoyed this nonsense, it only gets worse from here. Okay, so this is her website. She says that she helps you master intuition, neuroscience, and laws of the universe to unfork your life and access your soul's greatest potential. Okay, this isn't a dig at this specific person. This is something I've talked about on Threads before. I don't get this. On the right here, this outfit. Why are all of these coaches, and I say all of because literally so many of them have photo shoots like this, why are they wearing a blazer with a lacy bra? Or like this one's sparkly. I don't understand, and maybe there's photographers in the chat that can chime in. I just don't understand brand photo shoots that represent you in a way that you don't actually look like in real life. Like if I'm getting a brand photo shoot done, I've had a couple done in the past. My outfits, sure, some of them I might be wearing like business attire, but for the most part, I'm wearing what I would normally wear day to day because I'm selling myself as the business owner. Why are we putting on these like weird images and these weird outfits to try and sell our program? Like it's so like fake and weird. I've never understood that. Whew, yeah, that was a ride for sure. Okay, so here it is. I am blah, blah, blah. I have been a medium for as long as I can remember. And around 19 years old, oh, wait, is that where it starts? And around 19 years old, I began on my journey of honing in and mastering my intuitive skill sets. Through this, I began to create spiritual courses online, not just to be able to connect with souls who have crossed over, but to be able to read energy. This included souls both here and on the other side, higher self and source energy. Heavily training my intuition to be incredibly accurate in seeing where a soul is, where it wants to go, and helping it get there. Through all of my experience along the way, I developed effective spiritual healing courses along with intuition training courses and trained in neuroscience to reprogram the brain and subconscious to aid in getting the life your soul desires. I have used these trauma healing programs to heal myself of multiple traumas I've experienced at a young age. Shattered self-image, asthma, eating disorders, and extreme anxiety. Along with helping others heal chronic illness, trauma, shattered self-image, and really just about anything you can think of. So this woman allegedly believes she can use her intuitive psychic gifts to help you heal your chronic illness and trauma. This aligns with what she said earlier about being able to help you get rid of your COVID vaccine with your thoughts. Okay, thank you for that, gym lessons. Harrison, appreciate that. 1 hour 36. I will go through and find that. Okay, explore the intuition training courses and spiritual healing courses. Correct. Yes, that is correct from last week. Space Pastry says she has been a medium since she barely got through high school and didn't have a plan. Last week in the podcast episode, she did say that she got D's all through high school. And now that you mention that, her whole misunderstanding of science makes a lot more sense now. Because if I got D's in science, I might also believe some of what she's saying. Just saying. Hi, Dios. Phoenix says, that's common, unfortunately. I'm assuming that's in reference to people believing they can use their psychic abilities to help you heal your trauma. Run the other way, guys. Run. That's all I'm saying. How you may be feeling now versus the potential you could feel after stepping into my world. So before, you feel stuck, no matter how hard you try. Change seems out of reach, but after you work with me, you will feel empowered and relieved with clear step-by-step blueprint for lasting transformation. Oh my God, was this website built in 2016? Hi. Aaron says, I don't understand the font choices. I was literally thinking that, but I didn't want to be nitpicky, so I didn't say anything, but I don't understand the like cap locks versus lowercase. What's happening here? This website, again, it's giving 2016. Okay, new, start here with my foundational workshop. So she has Glow Foundation, the Unforked Intensive, and the Intuitive AF. So this one is $300. It doesn't even say how long it is. It's just a workshop. And sorry, my family is blowing up the group chat right now. Gain the foundational steps to begin overcoming obstacles, blah, 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 blah. So that's $300. The next one is an intensive, a 3-day intensive. get lifetime access for $350. Again, no information on what this is. It literally just has the title of it and then the price. Interesting marketing approach. Okay, and then lastly, we have the Intuitive AF replay, which is $300. The live replay of a 2-hour intensive workshop. Once you purchase, you will receive an automated email. Are these explained anywhere, or I'm just supposed to see that and buy it? See the title and want to buy it? I'm a little bit concerned. Okay, or I can join her membership for $32 a month. On the podcast, she said it was $50. But I have to start with her workshop. Maybe we should do this workshop. Get instant access to all 5 days. And we'll see. We'll see what happens. Maybe we'll come back to that another week. I don't know if I can stand another week of listening to this woman, though. Her prices are cantastrous. Isn't that the truth? $298 for a recording. You heard that right, guys. You know what? I'm going to start charging you $298 to watch this live stream. Okay. Oh, you can also hire her for a one-on-one reading. Well, that's probably like $5,000 or something. Let's see. Oh, right. And last week we learned that this woman, so she trains you how to become intuitive, how to read your intuition. And then they become like psychics under her. So she's building her own pyramid rather than it being a coach that coaches other coaches on how to coach. She's a psychic that teaches other psychics how to become psychic to teach other psychics. So she has her like pyramid of psychics, or as they like to call it, intuitive energetic healers. So you can apply for a reading and clear your dark energy. Is it going to tell me how much it costs? No, you just submit your application. What about if I click on one of your subordinates? Nope. Okay. Oh, no, that's her. So then this one would be... No, it doesn't say how much it costs. So that's a mystery. Really love that for all of us. Okay. Anything else? Is there any other... Oh, courses. I didn't click there. All courses. Oh my God, she has so many. Who wants to guess that they're just Facebook Lives being repurposed into a course? A career course. Holy. Okay. The Career Advantage Workshop. Get recognized as the best and earn more. What gives you the credentials to be a career coach, lady, if you've never had a job and you've just been a psychic? I'm a little bit confused. If I was someone looking for a job, why would I hire a psychic to help me get a job? Can someone let me know in the comments what might the appeal be there? Because I'm not seeing it. Talks about clones, but is creating more clones. Make it make no sense. She went from no business and no direction to multiple 6 figures in only 2 years. Of course she did. They all do. Always. Oh my God, I can't stand this. I can't read any more of this. I am losing brain cells by the second. I will, however, go to her Instagram just out of morbid curiosity. Oh no. This comment says that this woman allegedly encourages people to get off their prescription medication. We don't like that here. Okay, let's see maybe some of her content, see what's up. Why your intuition feels blocked and how to fix it. Okay, let's go.
Access your intuition, your source guided intuition, is you have to turn your emotions down. If you're emotional, your emotions are going to run the show, not your intuition. A quick step to turn your emotions down is a 6 count inhale, 2 count hold, and 8 count exhale through the mouth. Do that 3 times. It's going to make you way more centered. It's going to take your emotions down about 70%.
Okay, so there's this technique. It's called box breathing. It's taught in the military. I know we used it in the fire service as well. she basically stole the concept but changed it to try and make it her own. So just for the record, let the record show she didn't invent this. Here we go. My unpopular opinion on motivational BS in the spiritual world. The spiritual world loves to make you feel good, even if it's not in alignment with your highest good. We've all been there, spiraling, feeling stuck, hitting the same walls, wondering why nothing ever sticks. You see a motivational quote or some influencer affirming the feelings in a reel, and suddenly it feels like a green light to keep going. But what if that motivational BS is just keeping you stuck? What if it's just feeding your delusions and delaying you from getting on your highest path? They'll tell you to go with the flow right now, but what if you're supposed to put in the work now so you can thrive later? They'll tell you to trust the process, keep going, but what if your pursuing has only scratched the surface of what you're truly capable of? They'll tell you you're on the right path, but what if you need some serious redirection? What's the point of feeling good for the short term if it keeps you from reaching your highest potential in the long term? Sometimes you need a wake-up call to finally get on your path your soul has chosen for you. It may sting, but it's the quickest, most sustainable way to create the fulfilling life you desire. Blah, 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 blah. Join my program is the point of that post. Okay. This is enough, guys. I'm done. We're done here, okay? I can't. Guys, I'm going to cry. Her Salulu is Delulu. That is very, very true. Oh, boy. Yeah, that's the breathing technique that's taught by therapists for anxiety. A lot of these coaches, allegedly, in my opinion, like to take therapeutic practices and butcher them and pretend that they invented them. Brooke Castillo. Oh, did I say that out loud? I'm sorry, guys. What do I know? I'm just a little broke internet hater troll. It was so miserable, guys. I gotta get off here because I have to go live my miserable life where I just sit around and am angry at everyone. So I got anger to do off the internet because I'm just so miserable. I'm having a good time. I mean, minus the fact that my brain feels like it just is about to melt out of my ears. Life is good. Okay. I got nothing else. I'm really sorry that I had to subject you all to this torture, for lack of a better term. But, that's it. Let me know if we would like to go through the 5-part workshop next week or if we've had enough. I'm fine with either. If you have content you want me to potentially react to on a live stream, the form where you can submit that content is linked in the description of every single one of my videos. I got nothing else to say. So, yeah, I got to go give into the dark forces. I hope you all have a great day, night, morning, whatever time it is, wherever you are in the world. I'm going to go eat my dinner, and I'll see you in my next video, okay? Take care. Comb your hair. And Suzanne says, hell no, we're not talking about this lady ever again. Okay, fine. The jury has spoken. We might need a break. Okay, fine. I hear you guys. Okay, I need to get off the internet, okay? Okay. Goodbye.